There is forbidden knowledge recorded by Thoth about 12 plants capable of healing body and soul. I won't tell you which is the most powerful right now. First, I'll prove to you that your body already knows how to heal itself. Wherever you are, stop. Feel the weight of your tongue inside your mouth and relax it. Now, inhale slowly through your nose, imagining you're smelling the scent of an unfamiliar flower. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through your mouth, long and smooth, as if you were blowing out a candle without extinguishing it. Feel the tension in your shoulders ease. There you go. You've just used your breath to change your internal chemistry. It's the first step. You've already received the first delivery, a real-time state shift. Now, I'll show you the first plant on this secret list and how it amplifies this effect, beginning to dissolve your body's chronic anxiety. Later, I'll reveal the plant the ancients used as an energetic shield, capable of protecting you from external negativity. And only when your system is ready, at the end, will I reveal the forbidden herb of Thoth, the plant the sages believe to be the key to complete regeneration. Stay with me, because without the correct sequence, knowledge is powerless. If you felt this small change in your body, comment below. My body listens. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume that behind this force there is a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. This first secret, this constant and automatic action, is your breathing. But when was the last time you truly breathed? Not just the mechanical act of filling and emptying your lungs, but of fully inhabiting a single breath. On the icy peaks of the Andes, where the air is so thin that each breath is a conquest. The legendary messengers of the Inca Empire, the Chasquis, ran superhuman distances. Their secret wasn't just physical endurance, it was a plant they carried with them, Andean mint. A small leaf that held the power to reconnect man to the sky. When the extreme altitude stole their breath and panic threatened to close their lungs, they didn't panic. They simply chewed a single Andean mint leaf. In moments, something changed. Their chest opened, the dizziness passed, and calm returned like a gentle wave. The Andean sages, with their ancient wisdom, didn't say that Andean mint cured anxiety. Their insight was much deeper. They said that Andean mint teaches the body to remember that it is home. It reminded the body of its natural dance with the air, a dance that fear had interrupted. This wisdom, which sees anxiety as a loss of our innate ability to breathe, finds a surprising echo in laboratories today. Modern science, with its precision instruments, has discovered that Andean mint essential oils, rich in compounds such as pulegon and menthone, act as a mild anxiolytic. They relax the respiratory system and calm the sympathetic nervous system, that internal guardian that triggers danger alarms even when you're safe in your home. Pure biochemistry was merely validating what the Chasqui felt was a return to peace. Healing, therefore, begins with breathing, not a short, hurried breath, but a conscious act of reconnection. Your body senses your mental absence as abandonment, and it responds with tension, with constricted shoulders and a clenched jaw. Andean mint invites us to a practice that is revolutionary in its simplicity. Take a leaf, real or imaginary, rub it between your fingers and inhale its aroma as if you were on top of a sacred mountain. Feel the cool, pure air filling every corner of your lungs, and as you exhale, release everything your body no longer needs to carry. In this simple act, you are reprogramming your nervous system. You are reminding it that calm is not a luxury, but your natural state of being. You are remembering that the deepest silence is not in the absence of sound outside, but in the sacred space that exists between an inhale and an exhale. It is a portal to presence, a return home. You are telling your body that it is safe, that it can relax, but taking a deep breath and finding calm is only the first step. This newfound peace is fragile, vulnerable. What's the point of learning to breathe if your body is constantly on fire inside, consumed by an invisible fire that drains your energy, causes pain, and ages you prematurely? You need to put out this fire before it consumes everything. The secret fire that consumes you. This invisible fire has a name: chronic inflammation. And it's consuming you right now, silently. Medieval alchemists, in their obsessive search for the philosopher's stone, spoke of a fire that burns without burning, a heat capable of purifying matter without destroying it. They sought in metals and minerals what, millennia before, the sages of Ayurvedic medicine in India had already found in a simple root. They called it the golden one, the turmeric. For them, it was not just a seasoning to add color to food, but a sacred medicine, a gift from the sun itself. They saw turmeric as the embodiment of this purifying fire, a force capable of cleansing the blood, soothing aching joints, and restoring the body's innate ability to regenerate. These ancient masters understood something that modern medicine is only just beginning to accept. Chronic inflammation, that nagging pain that never goes away, that fatigue that doesn't improve with sleep, is a fire that has gone out of control. It's a desperate cry from your body, an alarm that's blaring endlessly, and you've been taught to ignore it or silence it with painkillers. This poetic and ancestral vision is now the focus of studies at cutting-edge institutions like Harvard. Science, with its language of molecules and receptors, has uncovered how curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, works this magic. It can modulate hundreds of molecular pathways in the body, acting like a conductor restoring harmony to the orchestra. Most importantly, it can turn off the master switch of chronic inflammation, a molecule called NF-κB. Curcumin doesn't just relieve pain, it gets to the root of the problem. It doesn't abruptly extinguish the fire, it transforms it. From a chaotic and destructive blaze, it converts it into a controlled and purifying flame. The same flame the body uses to heal itself. It teaches cells to communicate more clearly, to repair damage that would otherwise lead to serious illness. It's cellular reprogramming, a return to the body's original intelligence. Turmeric doesn't fight the body. It collaborates with it, reminding it of its own wisdom. The true lesson of turmeric, however, is this: pain is not a system error. It's a message. It's your body using the only language it has, the language of fire, to tell you that something needs attention, to warn you that a limit has been crossed, that a toxic emotion is being held in, that your lifestyle is destroying you. Consuming turmeric, whether in food or as a concentrated extract, is an act of listening. It's telling your body, I hear your call, I understand your message. Let's use this energy not for destruction, but for reconstruction. It's an invitation for the inner fire to return to what it was always meant to be, the force that regenerates, purifies, and creates. When this fire calms, pain subsides, Energy returns and mental clarity appears. But extinguishing the flames of physical pain only reveals the next layer of the problem, an even deeper wound. Extinguishing the fire only reveals the next challenge, a heart hardened by fear and forgotten how to feel. When the fire of inflammation finally subsides, when the physical pain begins to subside, the soul yearns for a gentle rain. A relief. In ancient Egypt, the pharaohs, amid their grandeur and power, offered a humble flower to the gods. The chamomile, our chamomile. They did this not for its beauty, but for a subtle wisdom that the modern world has forgotten. Tenderness is also a form of power. Tenderness heals. They knew that after battles, conquests, and monumental constructions, the spirit needed permission to be gentle, to relax its defenses. Chamomile is that permission. It is the medicine that demands nothing of you, only offers. It teaches the art of caring for yourself as you would a small child, with a warmth that soothes a stomach churning with worry and prepares the body for sleep, the great sacred portal of physical and mental regeneration. If chamomile is the first hug, the first gesture of self-care, rose is the next step, the rediscovery of the love that dwells within you, for you. In the fragrant gardens of ancient Persia, Sufi poets and mystics cultivated roses not only for their stunning beauty. The gardens were temples of contemplation. They watched the flower slowly open, petal by petal, and saw in it a perfect mirror of the human soul, which cannot be forced to bloom, only invited. The scent of the rose for them was an emotional medicine, a balm capable of melting hearts turned to stone by pain, disappointment, and abandonment. Centuries later, science reveals that this intoxicating aroma stimulates the production of phenylethylamine in the brain, the same chemical we release when we fall in love, the so-called love molecule. What the poets felt as magic, the body confirms as biochemistry. The legendary Cleopatra didn't fill her chambers with rose petals just to seduce Mark Antony with luxury. As a great connoisseur of human nature, she understood a deeper secret. The fragrance of the rose disarms the mind's defenses. It dissolves the armor we build around our hearts and invites honesty, vulnerability, and genuine connection. It's impossible to remain rigid and suspicious when immersed in the energy of love that the rose emanates. She knew that true power of influence came not from force, but from the ability to open another's heart. The most profound lesson these flowers bring us is an antidote to the harshness of our times. Tenderness is not a weakness, but a revolutionary force in a world that teaches you to be tough to survive. And self-love is not selfishness, but the first and most fundamental act of honesty. It's the courage to look at yourself in the mirror without judgment and decide that you deserve the same care, kindness, and patience you would give someone you love deeply. It's remembering that you are already worthy of love simply by existing. But this tenderness, this newfound self-love, needs fertile ground to take root and flourish. It cannot sustain itself if your mind remains a battlefield, a whirlwind of chaotic thoughts that never stops, robbing you of peace and preventing you from truly resting. Tenderness cannot flourish in a mind that lives in constant war with silence. The secret to turning off your mind. This constant war takes place in your head. In the silent gardens of medieval monasteries, Benedictine monks cultivated rows and rows of lavender. They did this not just for its pleasant scent or medicinal properties, but as a spiritual tool. They had understood through hours of contemplation, that the incessant agitation of the mind was the greatest obstacle to communion with the divine, the greatest thief of inner peace. The aroma of lavender was an invitation, an anchor to silence, a way to calm the flow of thoughts that prevent us from truly resting. Insomnia, this epidemic plaguing the modern world, isn't just a lack of sleep. It's something deeper. It's a resistance to surrender, an unconscious fear of letting go of control, even for a few hours. It's your mind futilely and exhaustively trying to solve tomorrow's problems with today's completely depleted energy. It's a vicious cycle of fatigue and worry, where one fuels the other night after night, leaving you increasingly exhausted and unable to cope with the day's challenges. What the monks knew through pure intuition and observation, science can now explain in terms of neurochemistry. Linalool, one of the main components of lavender essential oil, has the impressive ability to modulate GABA receptors in the brain. This is exactly the same system that modern anxiolytic and sleep-inducing medications target. The difference is that lavender does this in a subtle, balanced way, without the side effects and dependence that synthetic drugs can cause. It doesn't knock you out, it calms you. Inhaling the aroma of lavender, whether from a fresh sprig, an essential oil, or a simple sachet, sends a direct and powerful message to the limbic system, the emotional center of your brain. This message orders a decrease in the stress response, reducing heart rate and blood pressure and inducing a state of deep, conscious relaxation. It's not a forced sedation that leaves you groggy the next day. It's a gentle reminder, a permission slip for your body and mind to finally find the peace that already exists within you. Lavender's teaching is one of the hardest to accept in a culture that glorifies productivity and constant busyness. Peace is not something you strive for. It's something you allow. It's not the absence of problems in the outside world, but the presence of an inner space that remains calm despite them. Lavender doesn't ask you to fight the turmoil in your mind, a battle you'll always lose. Instead, it invites you to create an inner sanctuary where the turmoil simply can't enter. It's an invitation to conscious surrender, to trust that rest is not wasted time, but a sacred and indispensable act of regeneration. It's in silence, when the mind finally quiets, that the body and soul can repair, reorganize, and strengthen themselves. And when you finally truly rest, when the mental fog lifts, your body gains the clarity it needs to begin remembering something fundamental that the world, with its noise and demands, has made you forget. When your mind calms, you begin to perceive the boundaries of your own being. From the temples of ancient Greece to the sun-drenched courtyards of the Mediterranean, a plant with blue-green leaves and a strong aroma has been planted, hung and burned with a single intention: to create an invisible shield. Its name is rue, but the secret few understand is that its true protection is not against external forces, against the evil eye, or against the envy of others. Its real power is to protect you from forgetting your own power, your own inner strength. Stoic philosophers, masters of emotional balance, considered it sacred because it taught a deeply uncomfortable truth. Most of our suffering comes not from outside, but from within. It comes from toxic thoughts we allow to circulate in our minds, from undigested emotions that accumulate and silently poison the body. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, wasn't speaking in metaphors when he prescribed rue to clear the dark vapors of the heart. he was referring to what we now call somatization, the process by which mental stress transforms into physical illness. Centuries later, grandmothers in southern Europe planted rue at the entrance to their homes. This wasn't just superstition, but empirical wisdom passed down from generation to generation. They observed, in practice, that where rue grew, certain heavy energies, arguments, and conflicts simply wouldn't stay. Science is now beginning to translate this folk wisdom, revealing that Ruta graveolens contains a sophisticated chemical arsenal. Its flavonoids, such as rutin, are powerful anti-inflammatories and antioxidants, combating cellular aging caused by chronic stress. Rue doesn't just protect symbolically, it protects on a biochemical level. Its alkaloids act as nervous system regulators, reducing the fight-or-flight response that keeps us in a constant and exhausting state of alert. It helps you move out of survival mode and into living mode. But the plant's deeper lesson remains. Ancient sages didn't say that rue wards off evil. They said it reminds you of who you are when you forget your own strength. True protection has never been an amulet. The true shield is the act of recognizing that you carry something inviolable within you, your essence. How many times have you felt that negative energy had entered your life, when in fact it was you who forgot to close the door? Rue doesn't protect you from others, it protects you from yourself. It gives you the strength to say no when necessary, to set healthy boundaries, to remember that your inner peace is infinitely more valuable than the external approval you've been conditioned to seek. Every time you set a boundary, every time you honor your own needs, you are planting the true rue at the door of your heart. You are activating your true energetic shield. Protecting yourself, however, is just the beginning. It's creating a safe space for healing to occur. But this shield is only valuable if you know exactly who or what you are protecting. The forbidden herb that gives you back your identity. Knowing who you are protecting is the central question of your life. In ancient Greece, students attending Plato's Academy and Aristotle's Lyceum wore crowns woven from branches of rosemary on their heads. They didn't do it just as an adornment or to perfume their hair. They were practicing an ancient form of nootropics, a medicine for the soul. They believed that rosemary's penetrating and stimulating aroma strengthened the mind, cleared reasoning, and, most importantly, sharpened memory. They intuited that remembering was not just a mental act, but a state of being. Remembering who you are, where you came from, and what your deepest truth is the greatest healing of all. The condition that afflicts modern humanity is not a disease listed in medical manuals. It is spiritual amnesia. It is the forgetfulness of self, which causes us to live a life based on the expectations of others, the scripts handed to us, the masks we learn to wear to be accepted and loved. This disconnection from our own essence is the root of deep, silent, and paralyzing suffering. Today, science, with its rigorous methods, is beginning to investigate what the ancients already knew. Studies show how rosemary compounds, such as carnosic acid, protect neurons from oxidative stress, and may even stimulate neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to form new connections and reorganize itself. Research suggests that simply inhaling its aroma can significantly improve performance on memory and focus tasks, validating the ancient practice of Greek philosophers. Rosemary reminds us that the mind is not a fixed entity, but a garden that can be cultivated. Memory loss, whether at the pathological level of a degenerative disease or in the daily forgetting of our childhood dreams, always represents a disconnect. It's a loss of contact with our own identity, our history, our soul. Rosemary, with its awakening aroma, works like Ariadne's thread, helping us find our way back to the center of our own labyrinth, to the core of our being. It helps us remember not just facts, but feelings, passions, that spark that made us feel alive. Rosemary's teaching is, therefore, a radical call to authenticity. It approaches you and asks directly, who are you beneath all the layers of conditioning? Who are you without your position, without your possessions, without the opinions of others? Who were you before the world told you who you should be? Remembering yourself is an act of extreme courage. It's like an archaeological dig into your own soul, dusting off the inner child who knew exactly what they loved before the world convinced them to love other things. Each time you inhale the scent of rosemary, you're not just stimulating your brain. You're sending a formal invitation for your essence, your soul, to return home to your body. It's an act of realignment, of integration. But when you finally remember who you are, when your true identity begins to emerge, a new challenge presents itself. You need space to be that person, space to exist without needing to ask permission or apologize, and having space to exist in a world that constantly compresses us is a political act. Taking a deep breath, expanding your chest, taking your place without shrugging your shoulders is a declaration of existence. Eucalyptus, with its potent aroma that seems to cleanse not only the lungs but the very air around them, is medicine for the oppressed soul. For the person who feels suffocated, whether by the walls of an office, a toxic relationship, or the pressures of society, it teaches us, at a cellular level, that we have the right to occupy our vital space, to breathe unapologetically. Its balsamic, expansive aroma doesn't just clear airways congested by a cold. It cleanses the soul. It dissolves the feeling of being crushed by external demands, by the opinions of others, by the weight of the world. It's the botanical antidote to oppression, be it physical, mental, or emotional. It's a visceral reminder that our first and most sacred territory is our own body, and we have the right to inhabit it fully, breathing freely and freely. If eucalyptus teaches us to take and claim our space, basil, known in the East as holy basil, teaches us to inhabit this space with balance and grace. On Vedic altars in India, basil is at the center of homes, not as a simple culinary herb, but as the guardian of the inner center of the family and each individual. It is considered one of the most powerful adaptogenic plants on the planet, meaning it doesn't force the body in a specific direction. Instead, it helps it adapt. It increases the body's resilience to stress, whether physical, like overexertion, chemical, like pollution, or, most importantly, emotional, like anxiety and sadness. Basil teaches us the art of being flexible without losing ourselves, of bending to the winds of adversity without breaking. It's medicine for the soul that feels constantly overwhelmed, constantly jumping from one crisis to the next, never finding a moment of peace. It helps you find your center amidst the hurricane. Chronic stress, the default way of life in our society, makes us believe we need to be in a constant state of alert to survive. Basil gently reminds us that true strength lies not in rigid resistance, which breaks under pressure, but in fluid resilience, which adapts and strengthens. She invites us to return to our center, that place of unshakable calm that exists within each of us, no matter how chaotic the outside world seems. Center is not a physical place, it is a state of being. Together, these two plants, Eucalyptus and Basil, offer us a vital lesson for modern times, a choreography in 2 acts. First, with the strength of Eucalyptus, reclaim your right to exist, to breathe, to occupy your space in the world. Then, with the wisdom of Basil, learn to flourish in this space from a center of peace, balance, and resilience. And when you finally inhabit your own space, when you are centered and at peace, your body finally receives permission and the command to activate its most powerful tool. The intelligence of the forest that educates your body. This tool is your own biological intelligence. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, a woody liana with thorns that resemble sharp claws embraces the giant trees, climbing in a patient journey toward the sunlight. The shamans of the Shipibo-Conibo people of Peru call it cat's claw, and revered as the one who strengthens from within. For over 2,000 years, it has been the sacred medicine given to warriors wounded in battle, to elders weakened by age, and to anyone whose body seemed to have lost its life force. They didn't see it as a simple plant, but as the result of a sacred pact between the forest and the human body. They believed that by embracing the host tree for decades, the liana absorbed its ability to withstand storms, droughts, and plagues. It learned from the tree's strength, and, when consumed, this memory of resilience, this intelligence of survival, was transmitted to the human body. The shaman said, "The forest has memory in its bark, and this memory heals, teaching the body to remember how to be strong." This poetic and profound insight is now confirmed by the language of modern immunology. Cat's claw is recognized as one of the most potent botanical immunomodulators known to science. Its alkaloids not only stimulate white blood cells to fight pathogens such as viruses and bacteria, but also its genius lies in its ability to regulate an overactive immune response, which is the root cause of dozens of autoimmune diseases and the chronic inflammation we discussed earlier. Cat's claw isn't a general barking orders, it's a wise teacher. It doesn't force the immune system to attack indiscriminately, which can be dangerous. Instead, it educates it. It reminds it of its primary and most sophisticated function, to distinguish with surgical precision between what is self, the body's own cells, and what is not self, an external invader. It restores the immune system's wisdom, teaching it to differentiate between what nourishes and what threatens. It's a recalibration of your body's most fundamental intelligence, the intelligence that keeps you alive. The teachings of Cat's Claw revolutionize the way we view disease. Your immune system isn't just an army of blind cells, it's biological intelligence in action. When this intelligence becomes confused, the body becomes ill not from weakness, but from a profound disconnection from its own wisdom. Cat's Claw invites us to stop seeing our bodies as traitors when they become ill, and to start trusting their innate ability to find their way back home, to balance. She reminds us that true strength is not the absence of disease, but the trust that when we fall ill, our body possesses the intelligence and tools to heal itself. She restores our faith in biology, in the life that pulses within us. But for this healing to be complete and lasting, for this intelligence to operate fully, all true healing requires us to remember not only the wisdom of the body, but also the presence of the soul that inhabits it. And to remember the soul, a special kind of medicine is needed. In the dry forests of coastal Ecuador and Peru, a tree with pale bark and a mystical aura awaits death so it can offer its greatest gift. Palo Santo, the sacred wood, only releases its sweet, resinous scent after dying of natural causes and resting for years on the forest floor, curing in the sun, rain, and wind. Andean healers, the curacas, knew that its wood should never be cut. It should be waited for. It's a profound lesson disguised as botany. True transformation is never forced, it is allowed. The smoke rising from its burned branch wasn't used for simple energetic cleansing, to ward off superficial negative energies. Its purpose was much more radical, to purify perception, to clear the filters of pain, resentment, and fear that cloud our vision and prevent us from seeing reality as it is. Palo Santo cleans the lenses of the soul, so we can remember, so we can see ourselves beyond our personal history, beyond our ego. It is the medicine of the great reunion. It is here, at this point in the journey, that all plants meet and reveal themselves as facets of a single intelligence. Nail reconnected you with your breath, the most fundamental act of life. Rue taught you about your limits and your personal power. Turmeric showed you your body's infinite capacity for regeneration. Chamomile and rose reminded you of the revolutionary power of tenderness. Lavender guided you to the sanctuary of peace within your mind. Rosemary helped you remember your true identity. Eucalyptus and basil gave you the right to exist and the strength to blossom from your core. Cat's claw awakened the healing intelligence already at work within you. And now, Palo Santo reconnects you with the part of you that is eternal, the soul that silently observes this entire journey. Each plant was a portal, a step on the ladder back home, back within yourself. The cure for the fragmentation that the modern world imposes on us is this: the rediscovery that we are a conscious cell in the living body of the earth. This is not the end of the herbarium, it is the beginning of your initiation. The great master plant, the green intelligence that breathes in every leaf and every root, is not in a distant forest or an ancient book. It is pulsing within you. Your body is the living herbarium. Every emotion is a root that nourishes or poisons you. Every thought is a leaf that seeks the light or shrinks in the shadow. Every breath is a flower that opens. If you've made it this far, it's because your soul has recognized the call. You're no longer disconnected. To let me know you've completed this journey, leave the phrase "the secret garden has blossomed" in the comments. If this knowledge touched you in any way and you want to help this channel grow and spread more content like this, there's a way to contribute more directly. In the first pinned comment, you'll find access to support us. Any help you can give is very important to me and to the future of our work. But understand, just the fact that you made it to the end is a huge help. If you can, share this video with someone you feel needs to hear this message. And don't leave yet. Your journey doesn't have to stop here. I've put together a special video to help you take the next step, deepening this connection even further. Click on the video now and we'll meet there.